The air was thick with the smell of damp earth and the distant sound of cicadas as we arrived at the old farmhouse. It was further than we expected, miles from the small town of Miguel Pereira in Brazil, down a dirt track that cut through dense rainforest. The farmhouse itself was a picture of faded grandeur, with a wide porch and a rusty swing hanging from a creaking chain. We were looking forward to a weekend of peace and quiet, away from the hustle and bustle of city life. My wife and 2 kids, eager to explore, raced ahead of me. I paused, taking in the silence that pressed in like a weight. Something felt off, a prickle on the back of my neck. The property agent, a nervous man with shifty eyes, had been eager to close the deal. A steal, he called it, practically giving it away. He seemed relieved when I signed the papers, his hand trembling as he took his copy. He wouldn't meet my eye. When I asked about the previous owner, he mumbled something about an unfortunate incident and quickly changed the subject. I later found out from a local shopkeeper that the owner had vanished without a trace, leaving everything behind. Some whispered about dark rituals and ancient curses. I dismissed it as small-town superstition. Little did I know, the truth was far stranger, far more terrifying than I could have ever imagined. The farmhouse was filled with an unsettling silence. No birds sang in the trees, no insects chirped in the grass, even the wind seemed to avoid the property. It was as if the house itself was holding its breath, watching us. The first night, we unpacked and settled in. My wife, Sarah, tried to lighten the mood, but even her usually sunny disposition seemed strained. The kids, usually bursting with energy, were subdued. Their laughter, usually echoing through the house, was replaced by an unnatural quiet. The air grew heavy, charged with an unseen energy. My unease grew with every passing hour. Sleep was impossible that first night. Every creak of the floorboards, every rustle of leaves against the window pane, sent shivers down my spine. Then, the whispers started. Soft, indistinct murmurs that seemed to come from the walls themselves. I sat bolt upright in bed, my heart pounding in my chest. I could have sworn I saw a fleeting shadow pass by the doorway, but when I switched on the bedside lamp there was nothing there. It must be my imagination, I told myself. But deep down a primal fear began to take root in my gut. Section 5. Exploring the unknown. The next morning we tried to shake off the oppressive atmosphere. Let's explore the grounds, I suggested, hoping that some fresh air and sunshine would lift our spirits. The kids, eager for any distraction, readily agreed. The grounds were just as unsettling as the house. The trees seemed to twist inwards, their branches clawing at the sky like skeletal fingers. The garden was overgrown and choked with weeds. There was an old well in the backyard, half hidden by overgrown vines. As I peered into its depths, I felt a cold shiver crawl up my spine, as if something was watching me from the darkness below. Section 6. Whispers from the Past. That afternoon we met an old woman who lived in the village. She was hesitant to speak about the farmhouse at first, her eyes filled with a strange mixture of fear and sadness. Eventually she told us the story of the missing owner. He had been a recluse, obsessed with the occult, she said. He believed that the house was a conduit to the spirit world, a place where the veil between life and death was thin. He had been conducting rituals, trying to contact something or someone. He had warned the villagers to stay away, then he disappeared. Section 7. The 17th of January. The old woman's words echoed in my mind as we returned to the farmhouse. The date was January 16th. I remembered the property agent mentioning that the previous owner disappeared on the 17th of January, exactly 1 year ago. As darkness fell, the atmosphere in the farmhouse became palpably heavier. The whispers grew louder, morphing into distinct voices. The temperature plummeted, a bone-chilling cold that seemed to seep from the very walls. We huddled together in the living room, a fire crackling uselessly in the hearth, unable to penetrate the growing dread that held us captive. Desperate for answers, for some explanation for the terrifying events unfolding around us, we decided to hold a seance. We gathered around an old wooden table in the living room, our hands clasped together, our hearts pounding in unison. The air crackled with anticipation. "Is anyone here?" I asked, my voice barely a whisper. A gust of wind slammed the windows shut. The candles we had lit flickered and died, plunging us into darkness. And then, it began. A cold wind whipped around us. The sound of furniture scraping against the wooden floor filled the room, though nothing moved. Then a voice, raspy and ancient, filled the darkness. It spoke of betrayal, of a ritual gone wrong, of a soul trapped between worlds. It demanded our help. Terrified, we fumbled our way to the attic, guided by the ghostly voice. There, hidden beneath a pile of dusty sheets, we found a trapdoor leading to a secret room. Inside, the air was thick with the smell of decay and fear. Candles flickered in the corners, casting grotesque shadows on the walls. In the center of the room was a pentagram drawn in what appeared to be dried blood. As we stared in horror at the scene before us, the ghostly voice grew stronger, angrier. It demanded we complete the ritual, free it from its prison. Panicked, we scrambled back through the trapdoor, fleeing the attic, the house, the entity that held it captive. We piled into the car, not caring who grabbed what, just desperate to escape. As we sped down the dirt track, the farmhouse shrinking in the rearview mirror, I couldn't shake the feeling that we were not alone, that something was watching us, its unseen eyes burning into our backs. We left the farmhouse behind that night, but the experience left an indelible mark on our souls. The whispers, the shadows, the chilling cold, and the feeling of being watched still haunt my dreams. We never returned to Miguel Pereira. The farmhouse still stands, a silent sentinel in the Brazilian countryside, a stark reminder of the darkness that lies hidden beneath the surface of our world. Some mysteries are not meant to be solved. Some doors are better left unopened.